there's also a spot under here where you are going to be able to put your pods. So, right here, just before these purple wing things that we put in, you can flip open these hatches. Inside of here, we've actually got some plastic pieces that start and then stop. They've got a little gap in between in here. That's the side that the points are going to face. So you've got these all pointing this way. You're going to point the pods the opposite way so that they fit in. And if you try to put them in the other way, the doors will not close. So just in case you forget, it's not a big deal. When you put it in and it doesn't close, put it the other way. So, gonna set both those pods in there. Now remember, I did already load them with my Cyclops figures, so that way when they launch, they should hit the table, pop open, and show the Cyclops figures. So this should be really, really cool, you guys. I'm very excited. Also, underneath this ship, you're going to see the on-off switch. So I am going to show you all the features of this ship. Of course, it does do some different sounds and lights and things, which I'm not sure exactly what yet, but I'm pretty excited to find out. All right, folks, brought out a towel to do this demonstration because I wasn't sure if I wanted to drop these pods on a super hard surface, but hopefully they will still open on this, so this is what we're going to do. Also, it's got these nice leaves on it, so it looks like the ground with, like, giant leaves. Look, I don't know. They could be on any planet, and it could be real, okay? So, I'm going to flip it over to the bottom, and I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to see what kind of sound effects and lights that we've got, and hopefully it's got some different sound effects and lights with the dropping of the pods as well. So, the switch on the bottom gets flipped to the little I instead of the O. Alright, so once you flip the switch to on, there is a button on the top, a big red button in the middle, just next to this handle here. That is the button that's going to activate your lights and sounds. So let's see what it can do. Here we go. Oh. Oh, cool. It looks like we've got a little bit of light up on the top here as well. I'll show you that. Just in here. It sounds like this particular ship is having some mechanical difficulties, but I kind of love that. All right. This is cool. Alright, so as far as I can tell, it seems like just this whole back portion, all of the green that I showed you guys before, is what lights up. So we've got some of these thrusters in the back, a few lines that cut through the top, so you can see some of the green coming through here as well. And I was hoping that we would have lights maybe across these sides, but I believe that this is actually just paint. Unfortunately, sorry, I don't know if you can see what I'm looking at. But this is actually just paint, not those little green lights, which would have been kind of cool if we had some lights in other places of the ships. But I still really love just the idea that the thrusters light up and we've got all this sound. So I still think it's cool. They could have made it more cool, but you know, with every toy, that's how that is, right? So, all right, let's see what it does with launching. So I'm going to tell you how I'm going to launch this, and then I'm going to show you guys launching the pods. So I showed you already loading the Cyclops into the pods and then loading the pods into the ship. If you look at the top of the ship here, we actually do have 3 buttons, and I showed you that big red button in the center, that's for your lights and sounds. So these other 2 buttons are how you drop your Cyclops pods. So the one on the right drops the one on the right, the one that's in this arm. The one on this side drops the one in this arm. So hopefully that makes enough sense to most kids. I think that should be pretty self-explanatory. It's interesting and fun too because now I can drop them at different points. It's not one button that drops both of them. So this should be pretty cool. I don't know how high above the table I have to hold it to make this work, but I'm going to try to keep it in range. So I'm going to drop the one closer to you guys first. Here we go. Oh, it opened! It kind of fell over. I mean, it's supposed to land on a very small little dot of surface area, so kind of interesting, but I will drop the other one. Oh, yay, they both opened! Okay, so this is pretty fun, you guys. Now, I kind of wish I could load a bunch of pods. Like, if I could load all 4 pods and then have them slide so I could just keep dropping pods 4 at a time down to, you know, catch Buzz and Izzy and everyone, I think that would be really, really cool. Unfortunately, not accessible in this case because they did do the upper compartments here, but I really wish that had been a thing. That would be super cool. That being said, it is pretty awesome that we can still drop the 2 and that we can drop them at any time, not necessarily at the same time. So I think that's pretty fun. Interestingly, it didn't do any noise or extra lights when we dropped them, which would have been kind of interesting if we had an electronic sound that came with it. I mean, there was a little bit of a mechanical sound. You heard the door open and the pod hit the table, but there was no specifically intentional sound that came from this, even though my ship is on. So a little bit disappointed about that. I think that could have been a cool addition to make. I also love that it has a handle so I can carry it around. It is a little bit heavy, guys, and I do have the pods loaded in right now, but they shouldn't have added much weight. There's a good bit of weight with the electronics toward the back end of this especially, which is probably why the handle is so far back on this toy. So some of the really little ones might have a bit of a harder time carrying this around, just FYI. Also be careful if anyone's dropping this because there are some different spikes on this. They're not very sharp to the touch now, but I'm sure if one lands on your foot, you'll have a not nice day. So while it is decently heavy in the back, well, at least heavier in the back than it is in the front, it's still a pretty overall lightweight ship, you guys. It's definitely hollow everywhere that it can be. It's got a lot of storage compartments. I mean, most of these 2 front pieces are just hollow compartments. We've got the 2 in the top and then the 2 in the bottom a little bit further back. This piece is a little heavier because we've got all of our electronics and our 3 AA batteries, which just adds a bit of weight in general. But also all the light features and things. Everything electronic is in the back end of this ship, so it's a little heavier there, but it's not terrible on weight. I don't know how it'll be for some of the smaller kids still, but for any adults, it's fine on weight and less than you would think it would be looking at it. I thought this was going to be a very, very heavy ship, and it might still be fairly feasible to play with, so I think this is really cool. I'm a little bit disappointed, I think, that it only comes with 1 pod to drop out. I feel like at this point they could have just included both of the pods. But, I mean, that being said, I didn't really mind buying the extra pods because I love having the extra figures and everything, but I guess I probably would have still bought the extra pods, and then I would have had 4 pods instead of the 3. So I could put 1 figure in each of these top ones, and then also have my 2 pods. So, I don't know, maybe I'll buy more packs of pods. I'm not really sure yet, but I kind of hope that they start selling a 2-pack that's just the drop pods, because I don't understand the purpose of the one with the scratches. So that one just kind of opens up, but you can do that same thing with the other one as well, and it still has the bump, so it doesn't stay upright super well. Neither one really does, and I mean, I am sitting on a towel, but not a very thick towel, so neither one really stands up great. They're kind of wonky, but you can open it regularly for either one. It's just harder to open this one, and it doesn't have the drop feature, so... Oh, I forgot my Cyclops was inside my little compartment here, so I panicked a little bit. Okay, found him. I do think it's cool that they put the semi-transparent arm and leg guy in here, so we had a slightly different Zurg bot. That was fun. But again, I really think it wouldn't have been a big deal for them to add another one in the box, and it would have fit in the box with the packaging, so I think that would have been cool if we had 2 drop ones that came in here, especially since when you buy the 2-pack, you only get 1 drop one. One other thing that I think I might have changed just to make things easier in playtime is that these 2 pegs are actually different sizes, as well as the holes on his feet, so he can only face one direction, which would make sense if the sides of the pod actually looked different and you knew which one was the front, but since they drop randomly and open randomly, it really doesn't matter which way he's facing because you're not going to know when you drop it, especially when you drop it out of the ship. So it just makes it more difficult, especially frustrating for kids if they're trying to put it on and have to turn it around, put it the other way. It doesn't really seem necessary for this toy, except to add frustration. So I don't really know why they did that. But other than that, I really didn't have a lot of complaints about it. I think it looks super cool. I think it's an epic size. I love the sounds. I love the lights. I appreciate that I can turn it off in between to save battery power. Assembly wasn't too bad on this, I don't think. Once you get all the pieces lined up, it really wasn't bad to put them in, and they all went in fairly easily, so I don't have an issue with that. I'm kind of torn on this idea. So this is a one-time assembly piece. You're not going to be able to pull these pieces back out without breaking them, which means now I have to store it or display it like this with all of this spiky stuff on this other end. So that is a little bit troubling to me because this is such a big toy, but I guess the other option would have been that they were removable and then you would have had to put them somewhere in between and not lose any. And if you start losing one, then the ship looks really wonky, unless you lose two maybe, so it at least is still symmetrical. So maybe that's not the best plan either. I'm not sure there's a great fix for that, and I'm not sure which one I would appreciate more on that end. So, I don't know. I do really like the handle. I think it would have been easier if we had attached a trigger inside of the handle to activate the lights and sounds instead of the one that's underneath the handle, because if you're actually carrying this around by the handle as a kid, it is a little bit difficult to hit this button. I guess you can kind of hit it with your thumb if you set up just right, but it's very awkwardly positioned, I feel like, if you're flying the ship while you're playing. So not a big complaint, but something I would have changed aesthetically before it came out if that was an option. But what do you guys think? Do you like it? Do you have it? Are you planning on getting it? Are there any things that you would change? What do you think about the pods and the Cyclops figures that both came with this ship and that came in the little Mattel 2-pack? Let me know all of that down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the content that you saw today, please, please, please take a moment, pause this video, and hit that red subscribe button down below. That's completely free for you guys to do, but it really helps support us and encourages us to keep posting awesome videos like this on the channel. So thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who has subscribed and to everyone who is subscribing right now. After that, you can hit the thumbs up to leave a like and go check out our channel. We've got plenty of other toy reviews. If it's fun, it's fair game. So be sure to check that out, and until next time, have a great time playing. Bye.